Grace, I am home. I have got the groceries.
Chioma,
So you know her? Don't ask him if he knows me. Ask him why I have been his wife for the past 12 years. What? Daniel, tell your pregnant wife about your other wife. Daniel, what is she talking about?
please, both of you should forgive me. I don't know what came over me. This will be the end of me. It doesn't have to end this way. God!
All will be well. We are in this together, okay?
They say every woman has intuition, that gut feeling that tells you when something is wrong. But what happens when that intuition screams at you for 7 years and you ignore it? My name is Chioma, and the day I discovered my husband's secret, I realized something terrifying. The man sleeping next to me every night was a complete stranger. What I'm about to tell you sounds like a Nollywood movie, but I swear on everything I love, every single word is true. And before this story ends, you'll understand why some secrets are too big to stay buried. Let me take you back to where it all started. December 2011, Lagos, Nigeria. I met Daniel at a friend's wedding. Tall, handsome, confident, the kind of man who commands attention when he walks into a room. He worked as a regional sales manager for a telecommunications company. Good job, good money, good family background. Everything a Nigerian woman looks for in a husband. We dated for 2 years. He was patient, respectful, God-fearing. He never pressured me. He met my parents properly, paid my bride price without complaint. In November 2013, we got married. Our wedding was beautiful. White and gold theme. 300 guests. My husband cried when I walked down the aisle. Real tears. I remember thinking, this is the man I'll grow old with. I was right about growing old. I was just wrong about how much of him
I actually knew. The first 5 years were like a fairy tale. Daniel was everything I hoped for. We built a home in Lekki, had our first child in 2015, a boy. We named him Kelvin. Our second child came in 2017, a girl. Purity. My husband was present. He attended hospital appointments, changed diapers at 3 a.m, helped with homework, never missed a birthday. But there was one thing about Daniel's job that always bothered me. The constant travelling. Every month he travelled. Port Harcourt, Abuja, Enugu, Ibadan. Sometimes for 3 days. Sometimes for a whole week. Baby, it's work, he would say. This is how we pay the bills. And he was right. The money was good. School fees paid on time, designer clothes for the kids, annual vacations to Dubai. So I never complained. I trusted him. After all, what reason did I have not to? He always called when he travelled, sent pictures from his hotel, video called the children every night, brought back souvenirs. He was the perfect husband. Until the day perfection cracked. It was a Wednesday morning, March 2020, just before the COVID lockdown began. Daniel was rushing to catch a 7 a.m. flight to Enugu. 4-day conference, he said as he kissed me goodbye. He hugged the kids and left. 15 minutes later, I heard a buzzing sound from the kitchen counter. His phone. He forgot it. I picked it up to call him. That's when I saw the message notification on the lock screen. Daddy, when are you coming home? Tomiwa is asking for you. We miss you so much. Please don't stay long this time. The sender's name? My love, with a heart emoji. My heart stopped. for 10 full seconds. I couldn't breathe. Tomiwa? Who is Tomiwa? Why is someone calling my husband Daddy?
I wanted to believe it was a mistake, a relative's child, a wrong number, a crank, anything. But deep inside, something whispered, you already know the truth. When Daniel came back home 30 minutes later to get his phone, I did something I never thought I'd do. I lied. I smiled, handed him the phone, acted normal. He kissed my forehead and thanked me, saying he would have been lost without it. Then he left again. But I wasn't going to stay in the dark. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing that message. Tomiwa is asking for you. Tomiwa, a Yoruba name. My husband is Yoruba. Our children's second names are Chidi and Amara, Igbo names, because I'm Igbo. So who named a child Tomiwa for my husband? The next morning, I did what any woman in my position would do. I started digging. I checked our joint bank account. At first, everything looked normal. Rent, school fees, groceries, fuel. Then I saw something that made my blood run cold. Monthly transfers. Same day every month. Same amount. 150,000 naira. For the past 6 years. The recipient? Grace Turner. 6 years. That number kept repeating in my head. This wasn't a new relationship. This wasn't a brief affair. This was something much, much bigger. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through the statements. Every month, without fail, like clockwork. Who was Grace Turner? And why had my husband been sending her the equivalent of our monthly grocery budget for 6 straight years? I didn't confront him. Not yet. I needed proof. So I hired a private investigator. It cost me 200,000 naira. Money I'd been saving secretly for years. Money I tucked away just in case of emergencies. Well, this was an emergency. 3 weeks later, the investigator called me. His voice was different, serious, sad even. He asked me to come to his office because there were things I needed to see. When I arrived, he handed me a brown envelope. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. My husband. In another city. Enugu. Not at a conference. Not in a hotel. But in a house. A family house with a small garden and children's toys in the front yard. There were pictures of him carrying a little girl on his shoulders, playing football with a boy in the compound, kissing a woman at the doorway, eating dinner around a table with them like a complete family. The investigator's words felt like a knife to my chest. Your husband has been living a double life. That woman's name is Grace. They've been together for 8 years. The boy is 7. The girl is 5. I stared at those pictures until my eyes burned.
I felt like I was drowning, like the air had been sucked out of a room. In one photo, Daniel was helping the little girl with her bicycle. In another, he was sitting on a couch with the boy on his lap, both of them watching television. In another, he was holding Grace's hand as they walked down the street. These weren't just stolen moments. These were everyday family moments. Birthday parties, Sunday afternoons, breakfast at the table, bedtime stories. My husband, my Daniel, the man who prayed with me every morning, the man who called me his queen, the man who cried at our wedding, had another wife, had other children. And suddenly everything made sense. The monthly trips to Enugu, the conferences that always seemed to fall on the same weekends, the way he always had his phone on silent, the extra care he took with his appearance before those trips. All the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. I could have confronted him at home, shouted, cried, thrown him out.
But I wanted more than answers. I wanted him to see what he had done, face to face, with both of us in the same room. So I did something crazy. I drove to Enugu, alone, without telling anyone. I left the kids with my sister, told her I had an emergency business trip, and got in my car. The 3-hour drive felt like the longest journey of my life. My mind raced with questions. Does she know about me? Is she part of this lie? Or is she a victim too? The address was in a quiet neighbourhood. A modest duplex with a small garden. Children's toys scattered in the front yard. A tricycle. A football. A doll lying face down in the grass. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, just staring at the house. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Then I took a deep breath, stepped out, and knocked on the door. A woman opened the door. She was beautiful, light-skinned, soft features, pregnant, heavily pregnant, maybe 7 or 8 months along. For a moment, we just stared at each other. I could see the confusion in her eyes. She didn't know who I was, but something in my expression must have frightened her, because her smile faded quickly. I introduced myself. My name's Chioma. I'm Daniel's wife. The colour drained from her face. She didn't scream. She didn't slam the door. She just stood there, frozen, her hand still on the door handle. Then tears started rolling down her face. She whispered, "What do you mean?" I showed her everything. My wedding ring, my marriage certificate, pictures of Daniel and me from 2013, pictures of our children, Chidi and Amara, pictures from our family vacation. She collapsed into a chair in her living room, her hands shaking. And then through tears, she told me her story. Grace met Daniel in 2015. He told her he was single, a hard-working man looking for a serious relationship, someone ready to settle down and build a family. They dated for a year. He was attentive, loving. He introduced her to his friends, visited her family, paid her bride price in a small traditional ceremony in her village. They got married traditionally in 2016. She didn't insist on a white wedding because Daniel said they should save money first and do something big later. She agreed. Their first child, Tomiwa, was born in 2017. Their second child, a girl named Moyo, came in 2019. And now she was 8 months pregnant with their third child. Grace believed she was his only wife. She believed he worked in Lagos and travelled frequently for business. She believed every word he ever told her, just like I did. We sat there in her living room, 2 women who had been living the same lie, and we cried together. As we sat there, trying to process the impossible truth, we heard a car pull up outside. Grace's face went pale. "That's him," she whispered. The front door opened. Daniel walked in, carrying a bag of groceries, whistling softly. Then he looked up and saw both of us sitting in the same room. The bag fell from his hands, fruits and vegetables scattered across the floor. His face went from confusion to recognition to pure terror in the space of 3 seconds. For a long moment, nobody spoke. The silence was deafening. Then he tried to speak.
Tried to explain. Tried to say something. Anything. But what explanation could possibly make sense? What words could justify 12 years of marriage to me and 8 years with Grace? What excuse could cover 5 children with a 6th on the way? I stood up. My voice was calm, but inside I was screaming. I asked him one simple question. How? How did you do this? How did you look me in the eyes every single day and lie? He had no answer. Grace stood up too. Her voice was ice cold. She told him to get out. Just those 2 words. Get out. And for the first time in all the years I'd known him, Daniel had nothing to say. That was 3 years ago. Daniel's double life collapsed that day in Grace's living room. Everything he had built on lies came crashing down. The legal battles were long and exhausting. His family tried to defend him at first.
His mother called me, begging me to understand, to forgive, to remember our marriage vows. His father said I was overreacting, that men make mistakes. But the evidence was everywhere. Bank statements, text messages, photographs, birth certificates, marriage documents. Everything painted the same picture of a man who had lived 2 completely separate lives for almost a decade. The company he worked for terminated his employment when the scandal became public. His reputation was destroyed. Friends disappeared. Colleagues distanced themselves. Even his own siblings stopped defending him. Grace and I stayed in contact throughout everything, not because we wanted to remember him, but because our children deserved better. They were innocent in all of this. They were siblings, and they deserved to know each other. Today, Grace and I are not enemies.
We're survivors. Our children know each other now. They celebrate birthdays together, they spend holidays together. And somehow, from all that heartbreak and betrayal, something good survived. People often ask me if I've forgiven Daniel. Honestly, I don't know. Some days I think I have. Other days the anger comes back like a wave. But I learned something important through all of this. Some people are so good at lying that they forget what the truth even looks like. They build entire worlds on deception, and they live in those worlds so comfortably that the lies become their reality. My only regret isn't that my husband had a second family. My regret is that I knew something was wrong deep in my gut, and I ignored it for too long. There were signs everywhere. The phone always on silent. The way he showered immediately after coming home from trips. The vague answers about his conferences. The missing hours that never quite added up. I ignored my intuition because I didn't want to believe it. Because accepting it would mean my entire life.
My entire life was a lie, and that was too painful to consider. If you're watching this and something in your gut is screaming at you, listen to it. Don't ignore that feeling. Don't make excuses for things that don't add up. Don't convince yourself that you're being paranoid or unreasonable. Your intuition is your protection. Trust it. Because the truth might hurt, but living a lie hurts even more. 3 years later, I'm rebuilding my life. I'm stronger than I ever thought possible. My children are healing. And I've learned that sometimes the greatest betrayal doesn't destroy you. It reveals the strength you never knew you had. And sometimes the truth that breaks your heart is the same truth that sets you free. If this story touched you, if it resonated with you, if you know someone who needs to hear it, please share it. Like this video. Subscribe to my channel, Tales by Nelly, because you never know who needs to hear this message today. Thank you for listening to my story.